Good morning and welcome back to the Opportunistic Trader for November 26th, Monday after Thanksgiving. What I'm going to call this day what a difference 30 handles makes. So we're up about 30 in the S&P. If we were down about 30, all hell would be breaking loose. And I think most people thought on Friday that would be the case. I guess. They're saying we're up, Black Friday or something. I don't know because the S&P actually opened unchanged on Sunday night. So, I guess that feeds into the story for today. But overall, the market is up 28 handles, very firm. It actually did open flat. It's interesting looking at the stocks. They're up, but they're not up all that much. Amazon's the outlier. It's up 2%, but most of the FANG is up about 1%. So it's shocking to me that the market is up this much, but we'll see if it holds today. Looking, I guess, at currencies, the dollar is a bit, weaker against some of the currencies, but not much there. Bonds, not much there. They're down a tick or two. Trying to surf it out, I guess. Oil is trying to rally. It was up a bit more. Came in at this point, and today is an expiration. We can scroll to the straddle. Around 60 is very cheap at about $15.50. Volatility is in. I saw before it was about 20. Popped up a little. It's 20.5. Not down too much relative to having a 30 handle move. I don't think we're out of the woods here. I don't know. Joined by Vince as always. I don't know what your thoughts on markets are.
Good morning. I
Curious.
wish I had I don't know from here, but I think it was late last week we talked about it. I think it was pretty it would seem to be an easy call for me, although I didn't trade on it. It just seemed to be an easy call for me that everything was getting talked down and the market was lower, and then Kudlow came out with a dovish hopeful comment, and the market ignored it, and then I remember saying something about analysts are lowering expectations, guidance is being lowered by companies, and whether legitimate or not, there'll be some sort of Black Friday, even though it didn't even happen on Friday, or we didn't gap open on the ES Sunday night. To your point, we'll have an excuse to rally, and everyone thinks it's overdone, and from here I don't know what, but I do know this. That the market is doing Powell's job for him. On Wednesday on the close, it was, oh my God, they have to stop QT, and I guess it's okay to raise rates again now that we're higher. And the market does Powell's job for him. Technically, and I know you're not a true technician, and neither am I, but it's been pointed out to me by a couple of experts and one of the subscribers that in the U.S. hours, not the ES, so the SPX or SPY, there's a gap right above when we gapped lower, I think 270 spot 70, and that area might matter today if people are looking to fade or trade levels. So let's see what happens there for today. The rest of the week is going to be Fed jawboning, Fed stuff, and then Friday will be the G20 with Trump. So I'm just looking at the gap today. I'm wondering how it's going to behave in that area.
Yeah, well, we're into, I guess the week of month end, and usually they rig the market up. So we'll be leery of the rig up. The market is down for the month. It's been an interesting month. The market actually started the month going higher, and then went about 80 or 100 points higher, and then actually came in over 200 points from there, or about 200 points. And now we're coming back sort of what I would call to mid-range, on the E-mini for the month. I think the month low was actually made on Friday in the low 30 handle. I think the month high was somewhere around 27.80. Maybe it got a little higher than that. And then that was the short squeeze off the election. If
Right.
you remember how great it was, but it wasn't really that great. So after that, the market has come in and really, this move today, basically for this minute, and depending, the day hasn't started, so we might have a very volatile day. But if we don't, I mean, this is the market saving day. It just
Right.
seems to me like if we open down 28, we would be in the channel on the low.
Right.
And listen, in this market, 50 handles is not a lot. It
Right.
used to be, but at a
And if we
20
came in
vol,
30 lower, you would have with all these Fed people speaking this week, you would have very little room to talk hawkish. Now 30 handles higher. If we sustain in this area, like you said, we can drop 30 handles on hawkish talk or another Fed hike or something like that. But to come in 30 lower would have been a disaster. So the question is, do you is this the type of thing that makes you want to buy strength or sell strength?
I'd be a seller into this. We're not going to make a sale until we get above 60. Should have
Right.
sold a little earlier. I don't believe that this market is, going to just turn here and go straight up. But again, you have some seasonality month end. They're running out of time. If we get through the end of the week, you really only have about 20 trading days for the rest of the year, and the market is, I think, kind of flat. I don't know the exact price the S&P started at this year, but we're within 5 or 10 points of that, so it's a zero. But we move 50 every day or 30 every day.
Isn't today's call actually not atypical of bear market behavior? Meaning, we're down all week last week, and now we're up on nothing. And meaning we're up on just people that are just short and scared to stay
Yeah, but
short.
I got to be honest with you. And again, they'll manipulate stocks that you don't even know what they are to get this opening in line. But the stocks I'm looking at just
Right.
don't perform too well. Apple's not even up $2 on an up 30 day. And, Apple got cranked and torched on Friday for like $5. So, and Facebook is only 2 or 3 off the low of the entire move. Stuff doesn't look all that great. Goldman's up about $1.60. These stocks are bouncing, but the bounce is really not much. And in the environment that we're in with these moves, this is not a big move back at all. I see some of the marijuana stocks or pot stocks are up a little bit. But nothing, I don't see anything crazy on my screen that would lead me to believe that we would be up this much. But again, I guess it's all Amazon. It was an unbelievable Black Friday. I don't know how it was unbelievable, but it was. Numbers were, very strong there. So I think that they think they have to ship a lot of stuff, and, a lot of stuff is going to be bought online on
Cyber Monday is the other thing now.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So the markets are here. We got to look at them for what they are, and then we got to look for trades that make sense. And as a trader, you want to let the market dictate to you what the next move is. And again, we are up 30. The stocks are up, but they don't look that great. But they could turn that on a dime and make them look really good. So you got to be leery of that. The areas above 60, I think, are a short for a trade. But we'll see if they'll be trading today. That's the key today, is to see if they'll even be trading. Because on days like today, as many people that are in our membership and that are in our community know, these are the days, potentially, depending if there is no trading, that you could get yourself in trouble. So we want to see what kind of day it's going to be. But overall, I'm looking at stock prices, and, the SPOO is holding up, but the stocks are really not doing too well. So we'll keep an eye on that. Oil has bounced, although it's a very weak bounce. we do expect that to trade below $50, which is interesting to me, considering it was $77, and now everybody is all bared out. And Trump, has been talking about how he moved down oil prices with the Saudis, and I guess it's funny, we were speculating about this, during the whole down move, that hey, maybe Trump has the Saudis because
The
of what
midterms
happened
was
with
the
Khashoggi.
initial theory, and you
Well,
know what?
but that didn't really work too well, because into the midterms, oil was above 70 when they had the day of the. Where, Mike? Can you see where on the day of the election crude was? I think crude was 67 to 70 on that day.
Right, but I mean, it had come off the highs pretty.
No, it definitely came
but
off the
to
highs,
continue
but
to continue the theme of us working hand in glove with the Saudis, I mean,
We're
not to
actually
be
like
paranoid, but
62.
we had arms
62.
deals, and it doesn't hurt to have shale oil producers not be competing. It's win-win if oil goes down, because Russia, it hurts Russia's exports. Saudis buy more arms from us, and it's kind of an apology for killing a journalist. Possibly. That's
I
that's
don't
how the
even.
markets. That's how some people are perceiving it.
I don't know how Trump. I mean, listen. Again, who knows? I don't know. It's just it's a scary world out there. You just
He's
don't want to.
talking less and less. Are you noticing that? I'm a
Who?
person tape watcher. He's talking less and less on Twitter, and other people are more and more, and other people are doing his talking points for him. I'm
Trump?
just implying that
I don't know.
he's becoming a little more presidential on the outside.
But just think about, if you're a international journalist, you don't want to say anything about anything. You could get killed.
I
Literally.
know.
I mean, that's the whole problem with free press, right? You do something like that and it takes away free press. But again, I don't really want to get too much into that. Let's talk about a subject that we've been looking at and talking about on each one of our broadcasts, is Bitcoin. I don't know if you saw what happened on Bitcoin over the weekend, but it got completely annihilated, traded down
Yeah.
to 3,500. The altcoins are down they're down about 90%, some of them on the year, and the big ones, and this is down over 75% on the year. And it bounced a little, but it doesn't look like it's going to hold this bounce, and who knows where we could end the year. We could end the year back where I first looked at it a year and change ago, at 1,000. There's there's no there's no real bid in this. But my question would be to you, and I don't know if you know about this, and I know Mike probably has a better or a good knowledge on it, like what the price of producing the coin. Because when we came and looked at it, it was trading at 1,000, and the guy said he could make the coin or reproduce the coin for like 400 or 300, and then it went up to 19,000, and they said it cost 7,000. Well, what does it really cost? Is it, are they making, everyone's saying they're making, or getting paid these coins for less money than what it costs to make the coins. So I'd be curious to know what the real break even is on a Bitcoin, if we could find that out.
I think it's easy enough to look up, and I'll look into it. But the last time I paid attention to it, the energy the approximate energy put into mining before the consolidation and the other forks was like $1,000, and that was about a year and a half ago. So I imagine the costs have gone up because other people are putting more computers on it. But it's
Well, even just referencing the last time we had on Algo Ledge, they basically said, and that was, we didn't move for a number of months. We were stuck at about 6,500. They said the costs got up to about 6,000, and that was one of the possible drivers of the move lower, was that a lot of people were mining coins, basically breaking even, and they were saying, oh, we really hope it gets up to 7,000, 7,500, and then we can sell, because then we can turn a bit of a profit. But the herd mentality would be, if we get to 6,000, 5,500, 5,000, these guys have to sell to get some cash, because they've been mining it now at the 6,000 level. When we did, Larry and I had somebody come to the office about 2 years ago when Bitcoin was like $800, and they were saying that the mining cost at that point was about 800 or so, the total cost. But what's happened is two things have happened in that period. One is the technology that you need to buy the price has gone up, the electricity has gone up, and thirdly, people aren't able to mine as many coins as they were able to back then. So if you're not able to mine as many coins, you're not getting as much revenue, and that also drives up the price. So if you were before mining one coin, every 6 hours, and I'm just throwing out a number, and now all of a sudden you're mining one coin every 12 hours, that doubles that as well. And
the variable is time. You're right, because if you think about it, there's an absolute, even more so than gold, there's a finite amount, whatever you think they could change the rules down the road aside, there's a finite number of coins out there. So people are saying, well, if there's a finite number of coins, then the price should go up and up and up. But at the same time, the converse of that is what you just said. The cost to find those coins to compete and be the low cost producer goes up and up and up because everyone's spending more money to find those last coins.
Everybody jumped in to buy the same technology to kind of create coins, and all of a sudden, like you said, if they're giving, if the total amount of coins mined in a day is, I'm just throwing out a number, let's say 500 or so, if all of a sudden now there's all these other people mining against you, before you might have getting 3 coins, now you might be getting half a coin, something like that. Yep. But Algo Ledge made the point last time that he thought a standard kind of break even was around, or the cost to mine was close to above 6,000 at the time, and that's why I'm, here we are at 4,000 ish. The model seems to be in disarray.
Right. So just to throw two ideas out there after hearing that, assuming that's fact, either costs are about to drop because of some cost efficiency or consolidation in mining, or you're looking at the 1980s gold and oil market, where people would just mine and not hedge gold, and they would drill for oil and not hedge, and they're like, what's a put? How do I hedge production? And now you're just going to see the industry consolidate as prices, you're going to see supply decrease, or new supply decrease.
Well, some people are just going to have to shut off the computer, because if all of a sudden you're spending $6,000 and not mining a coin, or mining, 3/4 of a coin, and now it's $4,000, there's no business there.
Right. No, exactly. That's it. It's
and then plus you don't know what they could do with the total number of coins or who's out there. And it's funny, I forgot who I was with, but they were saying it was really funny. They were talking about who started Bitcoin. Like they made up like some, I forgot the guy's name, Hashimoto, some whatever. It's such if you really look at it, it's such a scam. It really is. And all the government has to do is create a digital currency and it's finished. But
yes.
I was reading a bunch of stuff about how it started, and this company Silk Road was like selling, drugs and crazy stuff on it. But listen, I got to give it credit to the guys that manipulated it up to the prices that they did, and basically got the public hooked on something that they're literally destroyed in. I have a family member who is long the coin from 12,000. And very small, thank God. But the facts are the facts. He wanted to be in it. So the bottom line is, I think a lot of people were like that, and the people that were in it thought that, I was looking at this guy Mike Novogratz, who used to be a trader, who's now, a Bitcoin specialist after 6 months of being in the business, and he had a year-end price target of 40,000 this year, and now he's down to 10,000. I think he's down to 6,000. Who knows? And the smartest minds have gotten caught up in this stuff, and it kind of reminds me of the internet in a way. Maybe the internet took more years to really get going. But then it blew up, and then maybe 10, 20 companies that were real survived. And it's going to be the same thing here. But again, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's just an amazing, amazing move.
Well, it is worth noting, I think, in every asset that you're talking about, the boom and bust cycle, the boom to bust cycle is going a lot faster than it used to. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
99, the internet stocks, and then probably what's happening to the FANGs now and Bitcoin, and the cycles are going faster. It's shorter lived, these things, and worse actually.
Yeah, I mean it's a fast move down. We still probably think it goes lower, maybe to 1,000, and at that point it basically stops trading and it sits for a number of years potentially, and all these coins around it, probably be done.
Well, the irony is, Larry,
we should have invented a Vince coin. We could have had our own.
No. Why would you want a Vince coin?
I like a Vince coin. What do you mean? Kodak, which is basically out of business, came up with the Cody coin, and these guys,
nice.
These day traders were trading Kodak because they were coming out with a Cody coin, and anyone could have any coin they want.
Well, I think there was. All right, I know you don't want to stay on this too much longer, but I think there was a Whopper coin. They were working on that. I don't know how it works. At the very least, it was a very good joke, because forking is part of the problem. They couldn't create scale. These products don't have scale, and they're only as fast as the mining. So they were trying to solve the scale problem by creating these hard forks, which is basically like a stock split.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very simplistic way of looking at it. But the Whopper coin marketing thing was, the Whopper coin comes with its own fork. You can, anyway, that's just a joke.
Very, very nice. But just, it's funny to me because it's like they're creating it as we go, what they can do, what they can't do, spin-offs, this. But what's happened is, really, if you look at the market cap now of the whole sector, I think the market cap of the whole sector is under 100. So I could be wrong on that.
It's so small.
It's so tiny that people are so focused on it. But it's really, it doesn't have the market cap that really is investable. And a lot of these funds that have started can't invest because they will be too big of a part of the coin.
I'm looking at the top 10 right now, and this is off of one site, and so I don't know how accurate it is, but it's looking at like 100 billion right now. And that's with Bitcoin just below 4,000.
Yeah,
it's come a long way.
If you look at it, if you were to look at it now, people look at algos that search headlines. If you think about the market cap of the coin universe, and I think this is not about Bitcoin. This comment is about the news and how to determine what's important for yourself in this age of information that's so free. Curation and filtering what's the noise out is important. So if you look at the Bitcoin market cap versus everything else, and you look at the percentage of headlines it gets, that should turn you off to it. If you could look at it in that sort of a ratio, it gets.
My question, sorry to interrupt you, Vince, but my question, I'd love to do some research on this. How many transactions actually take place using Bitcoin in a day, or sub coins? And I would think the number is very, very, very small. I mean, who's doing transactions in Bitcoin that's doing legal transactions? There's probably not very many people.
Do we have any banks that are sponsoring us?
No.
Okay, then maybe HSBC and clubbing cartels. I don't know. I can't tell. So
no, I don't know. I don't know.
I actually wanted to bring something to your attention because
Sure.
GE is on our radar, and the weekend macro report I thought was very interesting. To your point, two things that you'll say frequently, and if you're not saying it, you're thinking it, because I know that I'm thinking it, are why do stocks go up or down on no information? And two, isn't GE a buy at some point? And I'm bringing this to GE because I want to know what your feel about it is if you're looking at it. Because here's some facts. Everybody's looking at GE bonds for the credit downgrade. And this was in the report that we put out this weekend. And that's fine. And they're looking at that as a panic. But they're not looking. But GE's a corporate bonds could be downgraded in credit. But that's not the end of the world. I mean, that doesn't. The market is pricing that appropriately. But when you see the FANGs, rally, and they've lost like $1 trillion in market cap from the highs, and nobody cares, but everyone's talking about GE. My point is, if good corporations, I'm not saying GE is good, that's up for you to decide, start getting hammered, you're going to have a nice universe of what we used to call fallen angels or junk bonds, of good companies that are possibly a buy. And what I'm getting at is I'm bringing it back to stocks, because I looked at GE this morning and I see no one buying into the weakness this morning. However, I got to wonder at some point if it becomes an asset worth buying for the Warren Buffett types. Like, why am I not buying GE and selling FANGs? Because I'm scared.
Because you might get your head ripped off.
Right, because I'm scared to death. Exactly.
No, I mean, GE is not, if you're asking my opinion on GE is not even a stock that you could look at for the next 2 years.
I put a chart out there, you guys. I pulled off the internet from a high frequency trader analyst in the news thing. If you look at GE's liquidity, it's drying up as it goes lower. So there's no buying as it's going lower. It's hitting a bad spot.
Yeah,
no one, no one's accumulating.
It's a $60 billion company. It's not even. It's the size of like a little bigger than Twitter.
we should buy it with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So I mean, GE's the type of stock like an Alcoa or a Danaher or a Honeywell that when they were in depression, they got smashed, and then you don't look at it for a year or 2 or 3, and you've got a triple. So,
right.
I mean, I expect that. I mean, a triple would only take it to $20 where it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, or maybe at the beginning I think the beginning of this year was 20. So, it only takes it back to that level, but it's going to take some time. It's not really a trading stock, obviously, in any way. And if you believe that it'll do well and this guy Culp can turn it around, then it's a buy. But against FANG, I mean, I don't even. That's just like a naked trade in FANG. I don't think that GE is a hedge against any of that stuff. But these stocks look weak. I remain to be bearish in general. Overall, I think there's some events coming up. Obviously, what do we have on the 29th is the G20. Trump's going to say he met his best friend and they had a great meeting and things went unbelievable and they're doing deals and they're ready to sign a deal, and and that will potentially rally the market. But overall that China's mindset is just to wait him out.
That's right. They haven't changed their tune one bit. Bad cop, good cop. They're like, okay. That is the difference between. It seems like aside from the main point that you've made, not main point, but a very important point, is that they could wait him out in terms of who the next president is. The other point is every time an American politician opens his mouth, it's because of he's worried about his own domestic issues. Whereas we're a democracy; they don't have to worry about it so much.
Yeah, I mean they'll listen. I think they'll wait us out. Again, I do think that Trump will say it was a great meeting and. China's on board and they're going to do a deal and they sign it there or.
No, they want it, Larry. They want to do a deal. They really want to do a deal. And China's not saying anything. So I really want to do a deal too with you, Larry. You want to do a deal? Let's do a deal. What are we doing? I don't know. I'll talk to you later. What I mean? Like, it's like.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they're going to do a deal with them that China wants to do, not what the U.S. wants. That. I mean, yes. And Trump is. And the market might take that as bullish, and that'll be that. But overall,
any individual stocks on your radar?
Yeah, I always look at Apple. Apple looks weak today, but I think it's a head fake. It might have a strong day. The S&P just firmed up, back up again 30. It was up about 25. It looked like it might turn down a bit. The Nasdaq is up a smooth hundy. And overall, markets around the world are up. The Nikkei was up a couple of percent, 1.5%, and the DAX is up 1%, 20, and the SPUs are up a little over 1%, and the Nasdaq's up 1.5%. I don't have any real stocks on the radar. I want to keep an eye on crude today. It's having an okay day for it, finally having an up day. Maybe it'll be the first up week in 10. I think it's 9 down weeks in a row. So this may be an up week. Bonds are acting stronger than I would have expected into the December Fed meeting, and the markets overall look they look firm, and we'll see if the day stays firm, but they certainly have held the market in here and changed the sentiment in the market basically overnight. So that's my thought. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly say this: I have a price, I have a level, and I think we're in a bear market now. And in bear markets, I think you have volatility, obviously, and in a bear market with a put skew, you have choppy moves lower and spikes higher on light volume. So I think that in a market that is rigged in quotes, in a sense that you can't sell in a down tick and things like that, and there's always a chance they could make short selling suspended if a market is like they did in 2007, 2008. I think after a week of, I think the shorts have the longs have deeper pockets than the shorts, and I think last week was a good week for the shorts, and I think they're all covering going into Cyber Monday. Whether that's legitimate reason or not, I'm just saying the shorts are making money now, and they're still the weaker hands. That's so my sentiment is to sell rips rather than buy dips. But if I'm short and I made money last week, even if I'm a brainless algo, it's probably smart to cover going into all this news. So, which gives us a better level to sell
But
from.
you're
if we're
giving up
bearish.
30 handles right here. So if you didn't cover already on Friday, or last night, you're covering up 30.
Well, I'm not saying all the algos make money. I'm saying the first guys who covered last night probably made money.
Yeah.
And after that, you got guys that are losing money.
I'll tell you, I looked at oil on the opening at 9 o'clock. Not that the opening means anything, but it came all for sale, and now oil's only up about 67 cents. That's not bullish. That market looks wounded. I still think there's more to come on the downside in the U.S. equity markets. I'm not saying it's going to be today. I do expect a little bit of a give up later, but we're going to have to see how the stocks trade. They don't look so good. Goldman's only up $1 now. I mean, that stock got annihilated. I don't know if you've been looking at the news on Goldman. It's actually pretty amazing.
It is. It's
It's
almost
every
easy to miss the
year.
headline, Larry, because it's not Goldman Sachs and Helen, it's one MBN. So I almost forget to look at it. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like they're changing the headline so it doesn't seem that bad, but it's pretty bad.
But it feels like they have a scam every couple of years at the, like they had the Greece thing that, it's like, it's unbelievable. It's almost, I'm not going to use the word criminal, but it's right there.
But it's no longer shocking. Put it to us, but it is, but yet it's surprising that nothing happens as a result, ultimately. On oil, I wanted to add a comment. If you're bearish on oil, if anyone is bearish on oil, and you're looking for a reason to sell, you should consider that the fact that oil may have had an excuse to rally because of the Russian, Ukrainian, Crimean thing, or maybe it's Ukrainian, I don't know. But the bottom line is there's a strait that everybody knows about now. And if I'm Russia and I'm Putin and I'm an opportunist and oil is down and Europe is preoccupied with Brexit and Italy and, immigration flow, if you're going to start something, now's the time to start something. And the point is, if oil was up 1.5%, and now isn't, with this ongoing problem, then maybe it really is there's another leg coming soon. And I would defer to Tracy and Kelly on that on a technical basis.
Yeah. Bryn is really good at that, and so is Tracy. There are experts in the oil, natural gas, and energy arena. I just traded, but I don't consider myself an expert in it. My focus is more equity indices. Crude, in my mind, looking at it, is oversold, heavily oversold, but there have been a lot of blowups in there, so you got to be careful. It's just rallied. It's up about $1 now, so it's chopping around.
Did you see the news that the world's, well, again, it's in quotes because who knows how big things are these days, but the world's largest oil fund, Andoran Commodities, lost 20% on the WTI sell-off. That's a legitimate blow-up.
What company is it? What fund?
And I've never heard of them before. That's what's funny about it. Andurand, and that's the last name of the person who's running it. They lost 20% on the WTI sell-off.
I guess that's not that bad. It sold off 50% or 40 something percent. So they could justify.
Well, they only had half their money in oil. You know what I mean?
They could justify.
The other half was probably short.
Hey guys, we didn't do so bad. The market was down 38%. We only lost 22. We did good.
That's it. We'll call it the tallest pygmy coin.
Yeah. So, that's it today. Again, keep your eye on the straddle. The 60 straddle is pricing in at about 15.5. It's really low, actually. So we're expecting, fairly quiet today. Market has a bid, probably sustains in the middle 60 area. The market is trading short. And other than that, I don't really have much going on today. And hopefully I'll find some good trades, and I'll be in the chat room all day today. Welcome back from a long holiday weekend, and we'll talk later.
Yep. One plug, Larry, if it's okay.
Sure.
This week, we're working it out. Tom McEntee and myself are working it out. We're going to be hosting a new webcast that's going to be on more than one day a week, probably around noon. We're hoping for Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But this week, we're shooting for Wednesday and Thursday. But it's specifically for options traders with a tentative starting date, this Wednesday at noon. It'll be audience driven. We'll be taking questions for people who say, I'm bullish from Facebook, and we'll help them come up with ideas that are expressive. And I think this is timely based on other people's poor decision analysis in managing other people's money. We'll also get into we'll talk from simple to complex. If you don't know what a call is, we'll explain a call. If you don't know what a put is, we'll tell you that's what a mortgage is. But if you want to talk about higher level things, we'll talk about the Greeks. But the focus is going to be on, hey, I'm bearish on Facebook down to this price. What are some ideas? Now, these are going to be your trades and your ideas, but it'll be like investment banking online. We'll be saying to you, if you're bearish and you think it's going to this, you can do this for low risk, this for medium risk, and this for high risk. And we want everyone to participate in this because I think it's going to be fun, because Tom and I will share horror stories. And Larry, I'd love to have you on when you have free time during the week. I know you're very busy, but if not, please give a listen in.
Oh, for sure. One last thing on gold. I know you did your whole show, and my question to you is, how would someone play it if the Fed does not move in December? What do you think the move in gold would be?
You mean if the Fed does raise rates or doesn't raise rates?
Does not raise rates.
Okay. Anything, speaking as a gold person, if the Fed doesn't raise rates, that's going to be bullish for gold. It's going to be weaker for the dollar. And then my footnote would be this: if the Fed doesn't raise rates, and you're bullish gold, then you should buy stocks. You know what I mean? If the Fed doesn't raise rates, and that's comes as any, and it will be a surprise because unless the market drops 50 handles, if the Fed doesn't raise rates, that's bullish gold, and it's bullish gold because it's essentially risk on. It's bullish gold. It's bullish. It's bullish every currency that's not the dollar, and it's also bullish stocks.
But my
So
question would be to you, what kind of move do you think we would have? Is that a $50 move?
yeah, that's that. You know what? That's really an annoyingly good question because gold isn't driven by fundamentals. It's driven by short open interest and technical numbers because it is really a measure of people's opinion of management. And I would say this: 12.6. It could get up to 12.67 in a day, and then after. Well, I picked that number for a reason. I'll tell you in a second. I think you could have a $30 move higher. But if you think, here's the other thing: if you think that gold's going higher and it's because of a Fed move, I'd buy silver. You know what I mean? Because silver is also industrial, and the Chinese currency will work against it. But just focusing on gold, 12.67 is my number, and that's a 12-month moving average. And I think the market could easily get up there because not only will shorts cover, but you'll have longs plowing in at the same time. At the same time. That's pretty much it.
Okay. No, I was thinking maybe it would be a big market surprise and the market could trade up significantly. I don't expect, obviously, the Fed not to move, but
Right.
but anything is possible. All
But
right.
no, but you're right. If all things being the same, no, we're not factoring in Brexit volatility or Brexit uncertainty or a $30 move in gold is huge. Gold's a currency. That's a big move for gold, even though it's 2, 4, 4%, 12, 24, 10, 20%. Who knows? It's just not much. It's not a big move. $30 is not a big move for gold, but it is a big move for the gold market to digest. And that's simply because it's not big enough to handle the volume,
No, 100%. I was just curious on that.
If I were bullish on gold and I was pricing in, if I wanted to play, I mean, I'm macro bullish on gold from about a week after you called the low. But if I were bullish on gold for a trade, this is what I were convinced and I wanted to express it in gold. I would buy a 40 delta and sell a 20 delta put spread, 40 delta, 20 delta put spread hedged. Because if the market rallies, it's going to move away and vol will blow out. And if the market drops, the market will go towards your shorts and vol will come in. That's how I look at it. That's how I would express it. But that's the long option way. The short option way may be, your style might be buy a call spread, sell a put. Or, this way you're selling vol, but you're long direction. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that we'd have a big move up. Again, I don't expect it, but it was just a question I wanted to throw out there. And, that's it. I want to get ready for the opening, and we'll be in the chat room. And thanks for joining me. The straddle is still $15.50. Leads me to believe it's going to be quiet. They're not expecting much of a down trade or much of an up trade from here. So we'll keep an eye on that. And other than that, I don't see really much to do. I would like to sell some S&Ps in the middle 60s. I'm not going to be aggressive. It's the first bounce day. So, and we're coming into month end and they want to try to save the market, obviously. So let's keep an eye on everything. We're looking forward to a good trading day today, and we'll see everybody in the chat.